Pastor Chris here. Thank you so much for joining us for our Sunday night broadcast of our live service here at Coastal Community Church. We're so glad that you're here. A couple of things I want to share with you. First of all, we would love to get to know you. If you don't mind, take a moment and log in and chat with us. We'll actually have someone here available throughout the service to answer any questions you might have, but also to pray with you if you have any prayer requests you'd like to share. Also, take a moment and fill out our online Connect card. Just like we do it live on Sunday morning, we'd like to get to know you as well. So take a moment and fill that out. It's located here on our page. Lastly, if you'd like to donate to the ministry here at Coastal Community Church, you can give your tithes and offerings. You can donate toward the online ministry here at Coastal by giving through our website or texting. All that information is found here on our website. Again, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We hope to see you in person soon. Have a great evening. God bless.
Hey everybody, good morning. Thank y'all for coming. I hope y'all had a great Christmas. Let's stand up and worship together. I raise a hallelujah in the presence of my enemies. I raise a hallelujah louder than the unbelief. I raise a hallelujah. My weapon is a melody. I raise a hallelujah. 'Cause heaven comes to fight for me. Come on, let's sing it. And I'm gonna sing in the middle of the storm. Louder and louder, you're gonna hear my praises roar. And up from the ashes, hope will arise. 'Cause death is defeated, the King is alive. Come on, let's put those hands together this morning. I raise a hallelujah with everything inside of me. I raise a hallelujah, and I will watch the darkness flee. I raise a hallelujah in the middle of the mystery. I raise a hallelujah, 'cause fear you lost, and fear you lost your hold on me. I'm gonna sing, and I'm gonna sing in the middle of the storm. Louder and louder, you're gonna hear my praises roar. And up from the ashes, hope will arise. 'Cause death is defeated, the King is alive. Come on, our praise is about to be a little louder this morning. Let your faith just begin to rise.
Sing a little louder.
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 Sing a
Come
little
on, you won't be silent any longer. Sing a little louder. Yeah.
Sing a little louder.
In the presence of raise our voice louder than before. No longer will you be silent or someone shut you up from what you're called to do or from what you're called to say to someone. Now's that moment where you could be that light. Right now, I want you just to give God the biggest shout of praise, that you will no longer be silent, that you will worship Him in the moments, that your hallelujah will grow and grow and grow. Come on, let's shout it out. Yeah. Sing to your dry bones until you're covered in life, and the valleys bloom like a rosebud in the light. Hear the call to attention, feel the change in the air. For the ground is dry, but the clouds are overhead. Hey, I'm gonna sing it again. Come alive, come alive, come alive, dry bones. Come alive, come alive, come alive, dry bones. Awake, arise, and hail the light. Come alive, come alive. Are you waiting on heaven? Or is it waiting on you? For the Holy Ghost is already in this room, yeah. So you better get ready, 'cause who knows what it'll do. What if four winds blow? There's a breakthrough breaking through. Hey, I'm gonna prophesy again. Come alive, come alive, come alive, dry bones. Come alive, come alive, come alive, dry bones. Awake, arise, inhale the light. Come alive, come alive, come alive, come alive. Get up and rise, arise. There's shackles in the grave now. Dance like you were young. You don't have to live in chains now. There's a key within your song. So leave the past where it belongs, child. Take a leap into the light and find that freedom you were born for, and tell that soul to rise, arise, arise, arise. Get up and rise, arise, yeah. leave those shackles in the grave now and dance like you were young. Come, let's lift up our hands together, just in unity, this church family. All together, God, we want your presence here. You make a way for us where there is no way, and we worship you.
You are here, moving in our midst. Worship you. Worship you. You are here, working in this place. Worship you. Worship you. Sing that now, he's here. You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, working in this place. I worship you. I worship you. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are here, touching every heart. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, healing every heart. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, turning lives around. I worship stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. 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 You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Let heaven hear your voices. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop, keep looking, working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Lord, open our eyes, don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop. You are a waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. 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 Yes, you are. Give him praise this morning.
All right, you may have a seat, and as you sit down, if you've got seats in your row, kind of make your way towards one end or towards the middle so that we can have some empty seats just on the outside for people that are still kind of looking for a seat. But thank you for being here with us this morning. Welcome to Coastal. My name is Scott. I'm the associate pastor here. Man, I hope you had a Merry Christmas, right? This was a great week, a lot of fun and exciting times for you as a family in the life of our church. Just a great week. I hope you are thankful for 2019 and excited for what comes ahead in 2020. If you're with us online, thank you for being in here with us as well. You can actually fill out a Connect card right there. If you are here with us this morning, I want you to go ahead and check in on Facebook. Let some people know that you are here and the exciting things that are going on as you come together each week as we worship together, just as a community of faith. We're thankful just for everybody that's able to be here this morning. Now, when you came in this morning, you should have received a worship guide. It looks just like this. If you did not get one of these, go ahead and just hold your hand up. We've got a couple people around the room that would be glad to bring one of these to you. A couple things I want to point out. One is your announcement sheet. I'm not going to take the time to read through all the things on here, but there's one thing in particular I do want to highlight, and that's the very first thing, the 100-day challenge for 2020. You may also see this big card in your worship guide as well. It has to do with this as well. This is a 100-day challenge. Some of you have experienced a 100-day challenge with workouts and diets and different things like that. For 2020, we want to begin the first 100 days leading right up to Easter weekend with a 100-day challenge for us as a community, as Coastal. And we have 285 of you that have already signed up to be a part of this. We'd love to see that number hit over 300 and keep going and get more people involved in this. This is just a plan that we have laid out for you with Bible reading, with memory verse. There's things such as we want to see people to start giving. We want to see people to start serving. We want to see people to start moving and throughout this 100 days. You've been hearing about this from our pastor as well as through emails over the last few weeks, but we want you to be a part of it. And so today is on your Connect card. Go ahead and sign up and let us know that you are going to be a part of this 100-day challenge. As a part of that 100-day challenge, we're kicking off a brand new series next week called The New You. So I hope you will be here next week when we have services at both 9:30 and 11:15. So hopefully we will see you next Sunday. But your Connect card looks just like this. If you would, go ahead and take this out. Begin to fill this out, whether it's your first time with us today or whether you've been here with us for a while. Put your name and information on the front side. On the back side, there are a lot of check boxes that are listed here. Maybe there's a decision that you make during the service today that you want to let us know about. Maybe there's some next steps that you'd like to take. One of those is that 100-day challenge. You can check those boxes as well. Then at the bottom of that card, there's a place for prayer requests. Maybe you've got something going on right now in your own life that you would love for our pastoral staff and prayer team just to be able to pray with you about. We would love to come alongside you, partner with you, and pray with you. And so you can write it there at the bottom of that card. At the very end of our service, when we receive the offering in the blue buckets, feel free to just drop this Connect card into the blue bucket, and that's the way that you would turn it back into us today. If you're a first or a second-time guest, please don't be worried about filling this out. We're not going to show up at your house. We're not going to send you a bunch of stuff. All we want to do is be able to send you a thank you for being here with us today, and that's all that is. Now, when you leave this service this morning and you make your way out through the double doors, feel free to stop in the back, grab some free Panera Bread on your way out, but then make your way through the double doors to our cafe where you can grab yourself a snack and a drink. Introduce yourself to Pastor Chris and our staff because we would love the chance to meet you today while you are here with us. Also, the restrooms are located through these double doors and immediately to the left. Now, what we're going to do right now is everybody stand up, find somebody you haven't talked to yet today, and welcome them to Coastal.
All right, everybody go ahead and find their seats. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome again to Coastal. Like Pastor Scott said, I hope everyone had an awesome Christmas. Hopefully it was a relaxing time with friends and family. Maybe not for you, I'm not sure. But at least you had a couple days off work, hopefully. So that's always fun. All right, but I was actually thinking, I think it was Christmas Eve that it hit me. I'm not sure, maybe it hasn't hit you, or maybe it has, and I'm just being dumb. Like, this decade is over. Like, in a couple days, we are out of the 2010s and onto the 2020s, and that's just mind-blowing to me, because I actually started the 20, it's going to, probably a couple of you are going to get mad. People have gotten mad when I say this up until now, but so I started this decade, 2010, graduating from high school. 2010 was graduation from high school for me, and now here, I don't know why everyone gets mad about that, but they seem to. But now, wife and kid, it's just crazy. I'm sure a lot has changed for you over the last 10 years. You know, whether it's family, relationships, jobs and friends, highs and lows, good times and bad times. And you can really say the same thing year to year, right? Not just decade to decade. Lots of things change throughout the years. And that's kind of what we do at the end of the year. Right? We look back on what happened this past year in 2019. A lot of times here at Coastal, we do a year in review. We just look back and kind of evaluate how the year went. And, just got me thinking how far we've come, not only this past year, but this past decade. In 2010, as a church here, our church, we were actually meeting over in that old building. We were running like 200 to 300 people on a good Sunday. Like our Easter of 2010, we had 473 people. And this year, we're planning for 2,000. It's kind of crazy how far we've come. This same Sunday, the Sunday after Christmas, in 2010, there was 150 people here. And that includes kids. Right? So it's insane how far we've come. And for those that don't know my story too well, I actually grew up at Coastal. So I've been coming to Coastal my entire life. I've been able to see, a lot of things happen, good and bad. I remember when the church was all these different portable locations that you probably heard us talk about. I remember when we did get into the old building and then all the changes that kind of happened over there. And then I remember when we started this project to build this building. And kind of a funny story, when we started building this building, my wife and I were actually engaged, getting married, and I wasn't working at the church yet. My wife had just started at MUSC, I think, and we were trying to pay for our wedding. So we were looking for basically any way to make extra money to pay for our wedding. And so we actually did a bunch of small jobs like in the building process of this building. Actually there's like a big pipe that runs underneath this whole slab that goes from the tech booth up to the stage where all the wires run. We actually dug the trench for that and put the pipe in there. We used to come like every couple weeks and pick up all the trash and debris left over from the job sites. We always joked that this building paid for part of our wedding. So that was pretty cool. But we joke about it. A lot really has changed. And honestly, I think one of the greatest things, again, I've been coming to Coastal my entire life, 27 years, and we've seen a lot of awesome things. But I'm not sure I've personally seen anything as cool as what happened this past year with Daring Faith. Daring Faith was just a miraculous thing that happened. I've been a part of a lot of different campaigns and things that happened. I was a little young, but seen all the different giving campaigns that we've done. I've been a part of, Love Can and One and all of these things. But Daring Faith just seemed to be different. To see our entire church come together, every single person in unity. To see all of our small groups come together and study the same material. To see everyone get together on Sunday and study that same material in a large group setting. To see families come together with coloring books and coin jars, to come together in sacrifice and mission. It was something that really will define this church for years to come. Just think about it. It was and still is a special time. Not only did we raise a bunch of money, not only to raise money to build this new building, which is awesome, but a lot of other things happened. We were able to help more people in our community than ever before. We were able to reach out to more people in our community than ever before. I don't know if you noticed, but we went for a stretch during Daring Faith, almost the entirety of Daring Faith, where we were baptizing people every single week. That's what we're about here at Coastal, but there's just something different about seeing people come, week after week and step forward and profess their faith in front of everyone. It's funny, we actually, our baptism kind of sits over in the corner, and then each week we bring it out and we prep it, kind of on first Sunday we prep it Friday and Saturday, and then on Monday or Tuesday we'll, take it back over there. And so we'd always take it back over there, and then never fails. A couple days later, I get a text or a call, another baptism this week. We pull it back out and move it. There's a lot of move. We actually, no lie, we worked that baptism so hard over Daring Faith that we actually burned out the pump in it. So it's still so the pump isn't working right now, but we actually got the pump in the back, and that will probably be the most amazingly or annoyingly satisfying task. Will be changing that pump out. But we're glad to do it, and it's just an awesome time. That's what we're all about here at Coastal. God was and is moving here at Coastal. And it's because of the unity that came from the campaign, everyone getting together for a single purpose. We are going to be able to forever change Charleston, South Carolina because of what we are doing here, and it's just incredible. But it got me thinking, just imagine with me, what if we took it a step further? What if this unity that came from Daring Faith wasn't just a 3 or a 4, a 5 or a 6 month thing? What if it wasn't just a 3-year commitment? Imagine if it wasn't just us. Imagine if it was, Christians and churches all over Charleston. Imagine if it was Christian churches all over the world actually coming together in unity. I'd imagine what could happen in the kingdom of God if we all came together like this with the sole mission of glorifying Him. And what's funny is that Christians and church leaders have been praying for this basically since the beginning of since the beginning. Right? The Apostle Paul actually prayed for this exact same thing in Romans 15. He said, may the God who gives endurance and encouragement give you the same attitude of mind toward each other that Christ Jesus had, so that with one mind and one voice, one mind and one voice, you may glorify the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ. And then he says, accept one another then just as Christ accepted you, in order to bring praise to God. So in order to glorify God, in order to bring praise to him and all that he does, we must have one mind, one voice. We must accept each other as Christ accepted us. And we'll kind of dive into this a little bit later in just a minute. But what does that mean, right? What did he accept us with conditions? No, did he accept us with, a lack of love or grace? No, if he did, we'd all be screwed. Right? We are supposed to accept each other as Jesus did. We are supposed to treat each other, think about each other, value each other, live out our lives with each other as Jesus loved us. Right? With one mind and one voice bringing glory to God. This is unity. That's what we're talking about today. This is togetherness. And we know they're important because, one, of how many times it's referenced in the Bible, the idea of unity. In the New Testament, the idea of unity is actually referenced more than heaven and hell. That's how important it was. And then not only that, but the fact that these important people were praying for it. Paul himself was praying for it. And his original prayer wasn't the only one. Jesus Christ himself, actually right before he was about to die, prayed for pretty much the exact same thing. Right? And if the Apostle Paul is praying for it, and Jesus Christ is praying for it, and right before Jesus Christ died, he's praying for it, it's probably pretty important. And this prayer, it's in John 17. It's kind of like a whole summary of the entire Gospel of John. Right? So it's like a summary of the whole Gospel, with the key theme being the unity of people based on the model of Jesus Christ and his relationship with his Father in heaven. And so it's John chapter 17, 20 through 23. It says, my prayer is not for them alone. I pray also for those who will believe in me through their message, that all of them, may be one. Father, just as you are in me and I am in you. So we are to be one just as Jesus Christ is with his Father. And then it says, may they also be in us so that the world may believe that you have sent me. It says, I have given them the glory that you gave me, that they may be as one as we are one. I in them and you in me, so that they may be brought to complete unity. And this is, and then the world will know that you have sent me, and have loved them even as you love me. It doesn't get any more clear than that. Paul prayed for unity. Jesus Christ prayed for unity. He did it right before he died. And why? So that people will know that they are loved and come to Christ. That's the goal. That's the mission. And if we are united in purpose and mission and passion and motivation, if we are united together and in our Heavenly Father, then there is nothing we can't do for the glory of God. Unity is the key here. And really, it's not just the key for, the church body. It's the key for a lot of things. Unity, being on the same page is a symbol for not just, a church, but anywhere that there's really more than one person trying to get something accomplished. Does that make sense? Marriage, families, jobs, teams. You ever known anyone that was married but wasn't unified in that marriage? Probably not married anymore, right? Or how about parents that, not unified in the raising of kids? Not too good, right? All that leads to is broken homes and damaged children. Or how about a job, where there's no unity? It's an ineffective one, right? A team that isn't unified in their mission to win the game, probably not going to win a lot of games. Being unified for a purpose that you're trying to carry out is key. And so I kind of mentioned earlier, before I worked at the church, I wasn't working when we were getting married and everything. I actually worked out at Middleton Plantation, and I worked with carriage horses out there. And I know a lot of you picture downtown, but for us, we had these massive Belgian draft horses that are literally up to here on me. Their head's another 10 feet up. They weigh 10,000, pounds. Their hooves are dinner plates. And so we have two of them pulling a carriage, and we have like a 12-seater and a 14-seater carriage. And you want to talk about unity being important. When you get 2 bajillion-pound animals that are supposed to be pulling 12 people down a road, if they are not unified, you are in trouble. Right? Like the biggest job I think I had most of the time was picking the teams that would go together. Like we kind of had different teams, and I'll tell you, so we had like a team called named, their 2 names were Samson and Doc, and then we had another team that was Captain and Colonel. We had Rick and Jay and May and June, right? And you had to pair them up right. So like with Samson and Doc, Samson, based on the name, giant horse, hardest working horse there ever was, and then Doc was the laziest dude I've ever seen, right? Just like slumped back. And so you put them together because they grew up together actually in another place, and they knew that each other, they could get along. And then one time, like, we put Samson with a Colonel, and Colonel acts like Colonel, and so, or not Samson, sorry, Doc. And so you got this lazy dude, and Colonel, who's another hard worker, and what happens is you're sitting on the carriage, and Doc's here, and Colonel's here, and you tell him to go, and Doc does one of these, and Colonel jumps forward, and the Colonel gets mad at Doc, and he tries to bite him, and then you end up going this way, and then you're just off the road, and it's not a unified front, and you're in trouble. You're trying to explain to people, oh, I just wanted to come look at this tree to tell you about this when I'm supposed to, you're in trouble. Right? Unity is vital. Unity is vital to the success of so much, first and foremost in our lives, the glorification of God. But we know most of the time that isn't the case, right? Like unity is not something that is too prevalent in our culture today. Like we are quite possibly the most broken, divided world that has ever existed. Right? On everything from like stupid things like ice cream flavors and college football teams to politics, religion, ethical issues. Like there are things that you're like, there's no way that we could be divided. Like murder is wrong. Like everyone knows that, but then there's that one person who's like, nah, it's all good. You know? Like we are divided on absolutely everything. And sadly, this is, no more the case than with, religion. All of us Christians, we find a way to be divided, whether it's through specific beliefs or practices, denominations, style of worship. Whatever it is, we are divided. And why is this? Why is a group of people who claim to love Jesus and love his people and want nothing more than to glorify him, why are we so disconnected? I think it's actually a kind of simple answer. It's a case of a mistaken enemy. We have a mistaken enemy. That's why there's no unity within the body of Christ today. We're too busy fighting the wrong enemy. The Bible says that there is one true enemy. One enemy who seeks to destroy the kingdom of God and have people pass away from this life without ever knowing the love and acceptance provided by God. It's Satan. Right? The Bible says the devil is the enemy, the one true enemy, that his job is to kill, steal, and destroy. His mission is to infiltrate and cause division within the body of Christ. And he does that because he knows that a unified front is an impenetrable one. Right? He knows that a unified one is one of the most powerful tools for saving lives. That's why Jesus Christ himself prayed for it right before he was about to die. And the devil attacks us hard because he knows that a lack of unity is going to destroy us. And so what we do is instead of focusing on the true enemy, we're too worried about the Christians down the street. We're too worried about the Christians sitting 2 rows behind us. We might even be too worried about the Christian sitting next to you. Right? We're too worried about the wrong enemy. We're too interested in enhancing and expanding the division through what we call, being right and letting everybody else know about it. It leads to division. But imagine if we took all of that effort, all of the effort and the energy that we put into causing division, imagine if we focused that, all came together and focused that on our common enemy. What could happen? Everyone knows that the best relationships are formed between a mutual dislike of someone else, right? That's how it works in our world. It's the same thing here, honestly. So what if? Right, what if we did create a unified front with the sole purpose of preaching God's love to every single person and dragging people back from an eternity of separation from God? What if? I think it sounds pretty good. But in order to do that, there are a couple of things we have to understand. And so real quick this morning, I want to give you 2 overall things. First, what is involved in unity? What are the necessities to obtain unity? And then why we even really need unity as it pertains to glorifying God. So first off, number one necessity of unity, the thing that we need to obtain unity, is humility. We're just going to go ahead and kick it off with the easiest one, right? I know a bunch of you already just turned off when I said the word humility, being humble. But for people to come together and unify, to come together in unity, there has to be a humbling. And basically what I mean is that we are all choosing to lay down our own interests and desires and things and ideas and cultures and whatever it is to accomplish something bigger than ourselves. Right? To accomplish the goal that is above all other goals. And we'll look at this verse in just a minute, but the Bible talks about us all being like parts of a body, all working together for a single purpose. Right? In humility, we have to put the greater good of the kingdom of God ahead of our own. There can never be a unified body without a collective humility. But then humility also has a flip side, right? With humility or being humble, right, the presence of humility also recognizes the significance of all the gifts that we bring to the table. Right? Unity is not uniformity. Right? Humility is the pushing aside of the desire for everyone else to be like us and act like us and sound like us and look like us. But it recognizes the differences that we all have that make our unity so effective. Again, we're all just parts of the body, and without each other, we would die. We would be ineffective. We would not accomplish our goal. So humility, incredibly important. The second thing that's necessary for unity is trust. Another easy one, right? There has to be a trust within the church family in order to achieve the results that we are all striving for. And here's why. Because trust creates the culture. Right? By having trust in one another, by having trust in the church as a whole, by having trust in church leaders, we're not going around and looking over our shoulder to see who's coming to get us. We're not worried about when am I going to get mine? We trust that we are all in it together, all a part of the body of Christ in the specific goal of reaching lost people with the gospel. And that's it, really. It's as simple as that. We have to be able to trust one another. Right, you all know this. You've been in relationships without trust. You know how just hard, hurtful, and damaging that can be. Some of you have been in jobs with employees where there's no trust, and you know how just ineffective and unproductive and pointless that is. Some of you may be even struggling, so hard that inwardly, right, that you don't trust yourself. You don't trust your own decision making. And you know how just like foundationally shattering that can be. It's the same thing. Trust is a necessity for unity within the body of Christ in order to accomplish the purpose for which God created it. So we have to have humility. We have to have trust. The last thing we have to have is purpose. And I say purpose because it's kind of the nicer word that I can think of, a good summary word. But by purpose, we have to have guts, we have to have grit and tenacity and courage and determination and motivation and whatever it takes attitude. Right? For true unity to take place, there has to be a purpose that is driving us all forward. There has to be something in us that is just lighting and stoking our fire, that's making us, push aside all complacency and casualness and make us go, there are eternal lives at stake, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to pull people back from eternity in hell. Being eternally separated from God. It's the understanding that there are real stakes at play. People's lives hang in the balance. And really this purpose is kind of the balance between humility and trust. Right? The fact that we all have this purpose driving us and the fact that we have trust in one another allows us to, in humility and in love, hold people accountable to the mission. Right? The purpose, the guts, the grit, the resolve is vital to the unity of God's church, of his people. And so that's what we have to obtain unity. We need humility, we need trust, we need purpose. But why do we need it again? Why do we need this unity? The Bible says that we have to have unity to show people the way, to show people Jesus, and that should be good enough. Right? We should be able to take that at face value, but for a lot of us, that's not how we work. And so why do we need unity? In our practical, everyday lives, why do we need to be together in a church body with a group of, disciples following Jesus to accomplish and glorify God? And so the first reason that we have to strive for unity is that we desperately need each other. Right? We desperately need each other. Romans 12, 3-5, this is that verse talking about the body. It says, "For by the grace given me, I say to every one of you, do not think of yourself more highly than you ought, but rather think of yourself with sober judgments in accordance with the faith God has distributed to each of you. For just as each of us has one body with many members, and these members do not all have the same function, so in Christ we, through many, form one body, and each member belongs to all of us." That's what we're talking about earlier. It's all of us acting as members of the body with different functions. Again, unity is not the same as uniformity. We all have our strengths. We all have our weaknesses and our differences. And these differences are actually what allow us to be so effective in reaching people, accomplishing our goal of bringing people to Christ. Right? We don't all have to act like each other. We don't all have to look like the person next to us. We don't have to look at them and say, oh, they're doing this well, so I need to do that as well. We don't have to make it our mission in life to get people to act and look and conduct themselves as we do. Because that really does seem to be a major emphasis in the world today. But we don't have to push other people down to build ourselves up. We don't have to say, oh, you're not doing that as well as I am, so obviously I'm better. I'm more valuable. Right? And it's not just person to person, right? It's Christian to Christian. It's church to church. And here's a not so secret. Right? God made it so that Coastal Community Church would be right here, right now, because that's what he wanted. Right? He wanted us to be coastal. He didn't want us to be any other church. There's a ton of churches in Charleston, a ton of great churches, but we're not worried about what church we aren't. We're just trying to be who God made us to be. And that's the same message for you. A church full of individual people just trying to be who God created them to be will result in a church body doing the same thing. Right, think about it. We've kind of already said it, but it takes all different kinds of people to reach all different kinds of people. It takes all different kinds of churches to reach all different kinds of people. Right? The church down the road, the church out the street, whatever it is that you think is crazy, right? They're the church that's going to reach the crazy people out there, right? The church that you think is just a bunch of weirdos, they're going to be the ones that reach the weirdos that you don't want to reach, right? It takes all different types of people, all different types of churches, right? There are all these people and all these churches out there, and they can be effective in ways that you or I can't. We need each other. We need each other to get through life. Right? That's why our life groups are so awesome. Right? You want to be in a life group and you have you can find, you can start a life group where you study God's word and do taxidermy. And you can find the 2 or 3 other people that want to do that. And you can make a life group, right? I'm not saying it'll get approved, but you can try. You can find those other people. We need each other to build our faith. We need each other to strengthen our understanding. We need each other to reach lost people. Because no matter how weird you think someone is, no matter how different you think that other church is, unless they are like blatantly sinning and just speaking and presenting a message completely outside of God's word, we need them. And here at Coastal, we actually have a little saying. It's actually on our website. It's that in essential beliefs, we have unity. In non-essential beliefs, we have diversity. In all of our beliefs, we promote love. Right? You see, all of us Christians, we have one thing in common. And that's no matter what style we worship or how we preach or what our buildings look like, we are all worshiping God and attempting to further his kingdom. So that's why we need each other. We need each other. And that's why we need unity. The second reason we should strive for unity is that it will show the world God's love. A unified body of believers will show the world God's love. Romans 15:7, the end of that verse, passage we looked at earlier. Accept one another then, just as Christ accepted you in order to bring praise to God. Right? Accept is an interesting word here in our mind. Accept, I accept you, right? You're over there, I accept you. That's fine. Accept in the original Greek language means to actually receive them into your arms and then embrace them. And then it actually takes it a step further, and it says, accept is receive them, bring them into your arms, and then walk hand in hand with them. Right? So think about this. This passage we're looking at, it's saying accept each other as Christ accepted us. Cool. How did Christ accept us? Romans 5:8. But God demonstrates his own love for us in this. While we were still sinners, Christ died for us. Before anything else, before we ever became good enough, before we ever improved or worked on any aspect of our lives, God not only accepted us, but died on the cross for us. Yet we shun people who have a choir and an organ and don't use guitars and a keyboard. Or we shun people who wear t-shirts and shorts to church instead of a suit and tie. Whatever it is. And here's something else to think about. When you see, whether it's a person, a church, an organization, a group of people, a school, whatever it is that you either don't like or you are unsure about or just questioning of, what is the first thing you look for? Like something to criticize, right? Something that they are doing wrong. In your mind, they're then going to have a reputation for doing that thing that you think is wrong. As a church is the same exact way. I'd be willing to bet that in most places in the world, the church probably does not have a great reputation. And that's because of the division, the hate, the lack of grace and acceptance. And it's not a lack of grace and acceptance on people outside of the church. It's the people in the church. Right? The so-called Christ-following disciples that decide to spend all their time hating on everyone else. That's the first thing people see when they see the church. We have to change our reputation. We have to have love and acceptance be the first thing that people think about when they think of the church. They have to see love as the first thing that they think about when they come into contact with us. That's who we strive to be here at Coastal. We have to be known more for what we're for than what we're against. Right? We have to be different from this world to make a difference in this world. We have to be known not as people against everyone else, but those that are for people knowing and being in a relationship with Jesus Christ. John 13:34-35 says, "A new command I give you." It says, "Love one another as I have loved you. So you must love one another." Stop there real quick. How many times can you say love in a really short sentence? Love one another as I have loved you. You must love one another. And then 35, the end of that verse is so crazy. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples. And then he just throws in another, if you love one another. By this. He says to love people. And by this, not by the way you worship, not by what you wear on Sunday, not by what version of the Bible that you read or what your building looks like, by loving one another. By the way that you love one another, everyone else will know that you are my disciples. In the Bible, there's only one description or method that Christ says people will know, by which people will know that we are his followers. And I promise he didn't write down that it's how loud our worship is. He said it's through the way we love one another, the way that we serve one another, the way that we give to one another. That's what will show the world God's love. So that's the second reason to strive for unity. The third and last one is because when we are unified, we can do so much more. When we are unified front, we can do so much more. As let me tell you something you already know. We live in a broken world. We live in a sinful, broken world in desperate need of hope, in desperate need of a Savior. And now let me tell you something else you probably know, but you often forget. The church. Right? This church, churches all over the world through Jesus Christ are the hope for this world. They are the hope because they point all together towards the one and only Savior, Jesus Christ. So as a unified group, we are the hope of the world. No pressure, right? Like, we are the hope of the world. And so how do we be the hope? We leverage every single thing we have for others. We give and give in order to do whatever we need to do to reach the people around us. Right? Our neighbors, our coworkers, our friends, our family, strangers, everybody with a pulse. We leverage all that we have for the furthering of God's kingdom. And we do that together. Together we give all that we have. Because while we can do some good on our own, we can do some good as small groups of people. We can do infinitely more as a unified body in Christ. We can share the gift of his love and his grace more than you could ever dream. And this is how it's worked since the very beginning of the church. At the very beginning of the church, from the very first time when they had no nice buildings, they had no cafe with free coffee, right? They had no children's building, they had no offices or technological tools or projectors or whatever. You know what they did have in the first church? Mass persecution, right? They had mass persecution. They had poverty. They had hate. They had oppression and racism. But you know what they did? They came together. They came together and gave everything they had to the furthering of God's kingdom, and now the church is what it is today. We want to be like those people. We want to build something in this community that can make a difference for years and years to come. Here's what we really want. We want to be the group of people that someone outside of the group goes, you know what, I don't know about all the stuff they're teaching. I don't know about all that worship or God. I don't know about following Jesus. But I know that they love each other. I know that they love all people. I know that they love me. Because you know what that leads to? I wonder why. And that leads to Jesus. Acts 4 says all the believers were one in heart and mind. No one claimed that any of their possessions were their own, but they shared everything they had. With great power, the apostles continued to testify to the resurrection of the Lord Jesus. Like, that's love, right? Stopping right there. Most of us can't even get to that level. I'm not going to pretend I'm anywhere near that level of giving up all of my stuff, right? But that's real love. And here's the result of that, the end of that passage. And God's grace was so powerfully at work in them, all that there were no needy persons among them. The result of that kind of love is that there were no needy people among them. Think about that. God met all the needs of people through his church when those people saw themselves as not individuals or individual Christians, but a family of people who come together to love one another. Do you have any idea what we could accomplish in this world if people thought about us like that? Psalm 133:1 says, "Behold, how good and pleasant it is when brothers dwell in unity." Right? Behold how good it is. We want people to say, I don't know about Jesus coming back from the dead. I don't know about heaven and hell. I don't know about singing and praying, but I know the love that these people are showing is amazing. The way that they give and serve and love and accept is otherworldly. That's what we want people to start off saying. You know the doors that would open to people seeing, and not just hearing, but seeing the message of Christ lived out. If we came together and acted like that. Because a lot of people in the world, they don't just need to hear the gospel. They need to see it lived out. They need to experience the love of Jesus lived out. So what could we do like that? What would happen if we came together like that? To show that kind of love. If we came together to show a love so great that the only answer that people could possibly come up with for how we are loving so well is that Jesus Christ is in them, is alive in them. That's who we try to be here at Coastal. That's why we do what we do. We want to come together and truly change the world in the name of Christ. And coming together, being unified in this church, in this city, this state, this country, across the world. That's the only way it can be done. Lastly, real quick, Ephesians 4:3 says, make every effort to keep the unity of the Spirit through the bond of peace. Guys, all Jesus Christ wants from you is to do whatever you can. To give it all, to make every effort to be unified, because real lives are stake in not just 70, 80 year lives, but people's eternities. If we don't come together as the body of Christ to reach lost people, there will be people who spend an eternity separated from him. They could be strangers in another country. They could be strangers in Charleston. They could be your neighbors, your friends. They could be your family, your spouse. It could even be you this morning. If you haven't made, that decision to join the family of God, if you want to become part of this family, if you want to unify with other Christ followers to change the world, it's just as simple as a prayer. And so we pray with me this morning. Father God, we just thank you for this chance to come together as a group of believers, non-believers, skeptics, whatever it is, God, to come together and to look at your word and see all the good that you do for us. God, help us to see all this good and realize that the only way we can take it and give it to other people is to be a unified front. To come together not in a spirit of hate and division and lack of love and grace and acceptance, but to love all people as you loved us. To make loving one another the top priority, and to know that when we love so well, people have no choice but to say, why is that happening? And they'll see that Jesus, that you are alive in us and that you are making the difference in this world. Now, there are a lot of people here this morning that probably haven't, jumped into this unified body. And it sounds good to them, and they're ready to do that this morning. They're ready to accept you. God, just help them to pray that Jesus, I know you are the reason that I have everything I have. I know that you are the way, that you came to the earth, you died on the cross for me so that I may be a part of this forever family. So that I may have an eternity with you and not separated from you and all these bad things that can come from not being in a relationship with you. That by knowing you and loving you and having this relationship, I am loved, I am accepted, and now it's my job to show that to other people. God, so we thank you for all that you do, for the chance to be a unified body, and just help us to do that in every single thing that we do day in and day out. In your holy name we pray, amen. Amen. Awesome, guys. So now what we're going to do is we're actually going to move to a time of response. There's a couple different things that you can do here in this time. First off, you made a decision this morning. We'd love to hear about that. You can mark it on your Connect card. But then you can also go to the back of there in our prayer and decision area. Back there, you can let them know about a decision. They'll celebrate with you and give you any resources that you need. But also, maybe you just need some prayer this morning. You can write your prayer requests on your Connect card, but you can go back there, and there are people waiting to just join you in prayer here in person this morning. You don't have to know what you want to say, what you want to talk about. You can know exact prayers, whatever it is. They'd love to do that with you this morning. And then lastly, you'll notice there's a bunch of stations around the room where we're going to take the Lord's Supper. And then we have the bread and the juice that represent the body and the blood of Jesus Christ poured out for every single one of us, that we could come together and be a unified body. And so you don't have to be a member here at Coastal. You just have to know that Jesus Christ did die for you. He accepted you and he loved you. And so you can come forward. You can step to the side, take it there. You can take it back to your seat, pray with friends, family, small groups, whatever it is. And so whenever you're ready, you can now move to any or all of those responses.
All right, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. My wife asked me yesterday. She goes, "Man, Pastor Chris," or she doesn't call me Pastor Chris. Sorry. She said, "Chris, man, we only got one service tomorrow. You're not preaching. Are you even going to bathe? Are you even going to show up?" And I was like, "Yeah, I am. I'm excited. I'm excited about Ryan preaching. Great message today, and just excited about what God's going to do here in the new year." But I was up really late last night, so but with all this talk of humility and unity. I love you, Ohio State. I do. In fact, I had a lot of people came up to me today and say, "Pastor Chris, why aren't you wearing orange?" And my answer is, in all humility, when you haven't lost in 2 years, you got to kind of decide when you're going to wear orange. And so we got 2 more weeks, and we'll see what happens in two weeks. No matter what, I know the Tigers are going to win in 2 weeks. So anyway. But we're so glad that you're here today to kind of close out 2019 as we move into 2020. And just a quick reminder, man, I can't think of a better way to kick off 2020 than this 100-day challenge. And so if you haven't signed up yet to do that today, do that on the back of your Connect card right now. If you're watching online, you can sign up at home. Man, we're going to be reading through the Gospels together. We're going to be memorizing the words of Jesus together. And all of this leads up to Easter weekend. And this year, Easter weekend, our goal, we're going to have 7 services and see over 2,000 people in attendance here. And it's going to be awesome. But to prepare ourselves as a church, as individuals, it's all about this 100-day challenge. So I encourage you to do that. And that is on the back of your Connect card. That's what we're getting ready to do. This next song is the last song of today's service. We're going to take up your Connect card. So if you haven't finished filling that out, go ahead and do that right now. Let us know about any decisions, next steps. Maybe your decision today. Ryan mentioned about getting baptized. And we'd love to start off 2020 with just keeping on and baptizing people here at Coastal. So sign up for that, the 100-day challenge. Maybe you'd like to serve. And, I can't think of a better thing to do here at Coastal than to go into the new year wanting to serve here and serve in our community. In fact, speaking of serving, this coming Saturday is Saturday Serve. It is something that we do each and every month, all year round. First Saturday of every month, we gather together here at 8:30 in the morning, and then we send everybody off to serve our community. And if you haven't yet participated in Saturday Serve, let's do it together in 2020. Show up this coming Saturday at 8:30. We'd love to see you. So we're all going to turn in our Connect cards. If you're a guest with us today, as Scott said, don't be afraid of filling out your Connect card. We would encourage you to do so. We're just going to send you a little note of thanks for being here today and some more information about our church. But after the service, stop by the blue welcome and guest tent if you're a guest and pick up. We have a gift for you today. It's our way of saying thanks. If you're watching online, again, you can go to the top of the page and fill out your online Connect card as well. The other thing that we're going to do together this morning is we're going to take up our tithes and our offerings. I'm holding an offering envelope. This is just one of many ways to give here at Coastal. You can see from our screen all the other ways. What is your next step in your giving, by the way? Here we are, we're beginning a new year, a new decade. Daring Faith is behind us. But you know what? As a pastor, it always kind of, it kind of concerns me when people want to pray and ask God, to God's blessing in their life, and yet they're not putting God first in their life. And let me just tell you something. If God's not first in your finances, He is not first in your life. If He's not Lord of your checkbook, Lord of your bank account, He's not Lord of your life. And what is your next step this coming year in your giving? Do you need God's blessing in your life? My guess is we all do. Well, let me ask you something. Is God first in your finances? Begin 2020 by putting Jesus Christ, the Lord of every area of your life, including your finances. Start giving. Become a consistent, generous giver. And listen, if you will put God first in your finances, man, God will bless your life in ways that you can't even dream about. He will take care of you, and He will meet all of your needs. And the Lord will do that if you put Him first in your life. So what is your next step in your giving? It doesn't really matter how you give, but give out of love, give out of gratitude and worship. Because one day, and it might be this year, you never know, the trumpet is going to sound, the sky is going to split, and Jesus is coming back. And the question that you're going to have to answer is this: what did you do with Jesus? And then what did you do with everything that he gave you? All of it. Your time, your talents, and yes, even your treasure. So take your next step. I think that's just I know I'm saying that strong this morning, but I believe in this. And I say, let's move into 2020, ushering in a new year, a new you. And that together we're going to be a part of God's blessing and what he's doing here in Charleston and around the world as we share and experience the life and the love of Jesus. So we're going to take up your Connect card. We're going to take up your tithes and your offering. And hey, guess what? We still don't have to stack and pack the chairs today. Well, there's no school, nothing happening in here in the building this week. So we get to hang out just for a little bit after the service. I'd love to connect with you a little bit. We do have Panera Bread today. And man, just I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. And together, let's do this challenge together. Let's make 2020 the best year ever here at Coastal Community Church. Let's all stand. Let's sing this last song together, receive our Connect cards and our offering.
I was buried beneath my shame. Who could carry that kind of weight? It was my tomb till I met you. I was breathing but not alive. All my failures I tried to hide. It was my tomb till I met you. You called my name and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. You called my name and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. Now your mercy has saved my soul. That's right. Now your freedom is all that I know. The old made new, Jesus, when I met you. You called my name and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness to your glorious day. You called my name and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. All right, let's put our hands together this morning. Let's sing about what God has done. I needed rescue, my sin was heavy. The chains break at the weight of your glory. I needed shelter, I was an orphan. You called me a citizen of heaven. When I was broken